Good. No, thank you very much for the opportunity. Um, I work for Fiera Capital, and we have a long history of investing in Saudi, and it actually stretches back even further than the company. Our portfolio manager, Stefan, set up one of the very first Middle Eastern funds back in 1996. So we were really very, very early on. Back then, we were very hopeful that the market would open up to foreign investors. And I think it took longer than Stefan expected at the time, but it finally happened. At Fiera Capital, we run the Magna MENA Fund, which has been going for about 15 years now. I joined the fund about 7 years ago, and my first trip to Saudi Arabia was back in 2017, when we were setting up as one of the first QFIs to invest in Saudi. And we've been very, very active investing in Saudi since. So in the Middle Eastern Fund, we have about a 60% weighting to Saudi. But I think where we're different maybe to a lot of global emerging market funds is we have a very, very high weighting even in our global funds. So we have global funds with round about a 20% weight in Saudi Arabia. So I think what's very exciting about the Saudi market is there is a lot of change. So back when I first came to Saudi Arabia back in 2017, it was not only a different country to the country that we're visiting regularly today, it was also a very different stock market. I think back in 2017, the stock market was really dominated by two main sectors, which was the banking sector and the petrochemical sector. Whereas today, I think with the big wave of IPOs that we've seen, the market is much more diverse and there are much, much more opportunities in the market to take advantage of the reforms that are happening under the Vision 2030. Look, I mean, the way we look at the market, we really divide the market up in three buckets. And one of those is the banks, the petrochemicals, and then really everything else. And I think what we're really excited about in the market is everything else, because that is where we're finding a lot of good opportunities. And what we're looking for is companies that are benefiting from all the changes and all the reforms that are happening in Saudi Arabia, who can take advantage of these reforms in order to grow their earnings. And examples of that are companies that are benefiting from the huge government projects and the big spending on the giga projects like in Al Kharayef Water and Power, or companies that can benefit from the social reforms that are happening in the kingdom, like in Al Arabiya. But then the other thing we're very excited about is, of course, the capital market reform, and we're seeing a lot of new capital market activity and IPOs, and that is bringing a lot of new opportunities to the market. So that is also a sector we're doing a lot of work on. The EFG conference is always a fantastic event and a great place to get exposure to a lot of Saudi companies. And I think what's unique about it is that there are a lot of Saudi mid-caps here from that sort of extra bucket that I was talking about, who don't necessarily come to many conferences, who don't really have very much exposure to international investors. And so it is always a good opportunity to meet with them and to meet with our friends at EFG and to meet with our competitors as well.